So the other day I had to work late, which meant I was going to get home late, which meant traffic was going to be terrible. So what I thought I would do is spend 30 or 45 minutes going to the thrift store, the pawn shops, the Goodwill, the Salvation Army that are all close to my work. And I figured I'd hit those up and then head home because honestly the traffic would have been about 20 or 30 minutes. So I figured might as well make my time well worth it, and boy did it end up paying off. I have a ton of Xbox stuff here, and honestly I wasn't expecting it, but it turned out really well. This video is probably going to be a little bit different because I was trying to capture with my phone, and honestly some of the shots turned out okay and some of them just didn't work. So I'll try to piece those in where it does look good and it works, but know that I tried and it just didn't work out. Sometimes doing it yourself is not the best way to do it, especially when you have a security guard standing over your shoulder. Yes, that happened at one point. I was videoing some games and there was a security guard like right behind me. He didn't even notice what I was doing. Thankfully, I did not get caught or get in trouble for it, I guess, because I love going to these places and I would hate to get banned. The first place I go to is a thrift store that is like a community thrift store, and it oftentimes has some pretty good deals. One time I found a boxed Super Mario Bros. 3 in the VHSs of this one, so I always try to hit this one up because I found stuff there before, and so I want to make sure I hit it up. Well, I'm walking through here and I see a game that I think is interesting, and it's an Xbox original game, which means I'm not going to pass it up if I don't have it. So I am walking and it's kind of crumpled up, and I find it and I kind of take it out of its case because the paper is all bent up and folded, and I saw Blockbuster exclusive, which to me meant, okay, cool, I need to pick this up. I looked it up afterwards and it's not really worth much, but it looks like it might be a funny game to play, and that is Freestyle Street Soccer, which is a Blockbuster exclusive, and so I'm really stoked to have found that. It was only 99 cents, so I couldn't pass it up. I was like, even if it's not worth much, I'll pick it up and add it to the collection. Also, there's like a CD rack close to the front. I'm looking through it, I don't see anything, but then I look over and I see an Iron Man Disney Infinity. So I looked and it was 99 cents yet again, and so I didn't notice that his hand was messed up, but I did end up picking it up. Worst comes to worst, it was only 99 cents, so that's pretty interesting. Next, I go to a little pawn shop. I believe it's an easy pawn, but it's not very big. There's like one row here, and like a thing in the middle, and that's about as big as it gets. Well, thankfully they still have games, and it looks like they have a lot of games come into this store. They've got Xbox One, they've got PS4, they've got PS3, PS2, Xbox Original, Xbox 360, some Wii games that aren't worth anything, and overall it's not a bad selection of games. Well, I'm walking through there and I scan it and I notice some of these games are only like $2, so I picked them up, and one of them was kind of like a guilty pleasure, and that is NHL 2K6. This is my favorite hockey team, the Dallas Stars, and Marty Turco, who is the goalie, was a really good goalie, and I loved watching him when I was younger. So I saw this and I thought, I know, when I saw the 2K6, I knew he was on the cover, and I don't have this for the Xbox. So I figured, why not pick it up? I figured for $2, it's definitely worth it. Then I'm walking through here and I see Halo 2. Yes, this is an awesome game. If you haven't played this game, go out and pick it up. You can find this almost anywhere. If you have an Xbox collection and you don't have Halo 2 on there, you definitely are missing out because this is such a good game. And it's relatively cheap now, so it's definitely worth it. Then I kind of see this next game, and it's kind of weird and wacky, and it looks like it's kind of cel shaded, or at least the artwork on the front looks that way. And so I was like, I gotta pick it up, why not? And that is Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball Max. it was not worth much, honestly, but it looks like it could be a fun game. Paintball guns back then were awesome, and so I'll probably like this and play it around a little bit. It looks cool. I looked at the back and looked at the graphics, and I may have played this game, but I'm not 100% sure, so I said $2, might as well pick it up. Then, last but not least, I have an Xbox 360 / Xbox One game because it is backwards compatible, but it was released for the Xbox One, which is totally weird, but that's Skate 3. I saw this, and I've been wanting to play this, quite honestly, for a while since Skate 3 came out, and I've never played it, and a lot of people say this is the reason Tony Hawk Pro Skater's games ended up dying, so I definitely want to pick this up and play it and maybe have some fun with it. I like skating games, so I figured why not pick it up. So next I go to the Salvation Army that is relatively close to me, but they never seem to have good things. Well, today they did, and they were all 99 cents. So I looked at them and I was like, well, do I want this, and is it worth it? But then I was like, oh, 99 cents, I will pick those up. And so I picked up 3 games, 2 PlayStation 2 games, and 1 Wii game. I figured for 99 cents it was well worth it. And the first game I got is Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer on the PlayStation 2, which is really cool. It looks like it could be a fun game, but I don't know how this is going to be. It looks like it's probably like your kind of Injustice kind of feel to it. I'm not quite sure exactly if it's like a beat 'em up or not, but it looks like it could be pretty fun if you're into stuff like that. Then I picked up the next game because for some reason my girlfriend has been on a Sims kick lately, and I saw this and I thought, for 99 cents, if it's all scratched up, I can resurface it and she can play it. And that is Sims 2. She really is, some reason, into Sims lately, and I'll never understand it. But she likes playing that, so I figured I'd pick this up for her and maybe surprise her with it. She doesn't know, but she might when she watches this. Shh, don't tell her. Then, last but not least, I have the Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor on the Wii. Obviously, this is a Mummy game, and it's probably pretty lame. I don't see this game being really that fun or whatnot. Comment down below if you've played any of these games and if they're fun. Let me know so I can make sure to add them to my list of games to play. But this one, it was 99 cents. I figured, let's add it to the game collection. Last but not least, I ended up making my way to this Goodwill, which I have found a ton of good stuff. I found an acoustic guitar there. I found a Game Boy Color there. I found a Game Gear there. I found tons of games. Double Dash, Super Smash Bros. Melee, stuff like that. Some big high quality stuff. Didn't find it this time, but I found some cool stuff that is okay, and I found a bunch of other games that I ended up not picking up because these games are $3 to $4, which is a little bit more than I want to pay for some of these games, but if it's a good game, I'm gonna pick it up. Which leads me to the first one, and that is Fable Limited Edition Bonus DVD. It has GameStop, Babbage's, and Funcoland software down there. So I'm interested to see this. It looks like it shows kind of the behind the scenes of Fable, and it looks like it could be cool. It also has a demo of Sudkai. I've never played that, but I've seen it. So that's kind of cool. I did notice that the top is busted, but I have a ton of Xbox cases. I can recase this and be pretty good. So that's pretty awesome. Then next I found Deus Ex Invisible War on the Xbox as well, and this is complete. Most of these games, if not all of them, are complete. So I didn't pay more than $4 for any of these games, so I really did well, and overall I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. This game looks interesting. I don't know if I'll ever play it, honestly, because it's a shooter and it's not Halo on the Xbox, so what can I do there? I don't know what to do, but I picked it up. It might be fun, it might not. Then, last but not least, is something that I'll actually play, and I'm glad to add it to the collection, is Soul Calibur 4. This is really awesome. If you don't know, Soul Calibur always has some kind of character from something else, and this one has Darth Vader. Some of the other games have like Yoda and stuff like that, so to see the Darth Vader one was really cool, and I said for $3 or $4 I'm gonna pick this up and add it to my collection, at least play it once, and I'll make my money's worth of entertainment, so I'm pretty stoked about this. Okay, so I bought 12 things, 11 games, and 1 Disney Infinity Iron Man, so it turned out to be a good 30 minutes wasted of just wandering in the thrift store or the pawn shop or the Salvation Army or the Goodwill, whatever it was. It ended up being worth it for me because I found some of these games for cheap. Now most of them are cheap games, honestly, but I have been on a huge Xbox original kick right now, and I couldn't pass up on them, so I picked them up, and I'm really excited to at least play them once and see how the games are. With that being said, if you like kind of weird and wacky, like kind of videos like this that show what I've picked up, but also kind of show footage of me picking it up, normally it would have been more, but I had issues with my camera. Let me know down below in the comments. Say, hey, I love what you're doing here, or say I hate it. Whatever it is. If you are interested in hitting me up on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, go check those out. The links are down below. There's also a Patreon, an Amazon, and a Big Cartel. All that is down below in the description as well. Check those out if you're interested. If not, no worries. With that being said, I want to say thank you so much for coming out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so it'll let you know when I post videos. With that being said, have a good day.